Hey, everybody, welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place to be for tips, tools, strategies, and everything you need to build a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. Now, health should not be a hassle. So that's why we have special guests like our guest today, Lynnis Woods-Mullins, who's going to talk to us about how to take the hassle out of your hustle. And she's going to be talking to us because it's Mental Health Month and what we need to do to stay mentally healthy as we progress and mature. So without further ado, here's Lynnis Mullins.
Hey, Francine, great to be here. And hello to all you biz chicks out there. Yeah, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is, and April was Stress Awareness Month. So in the spring, for some reason, they came up with these ideas, but I think it's great. We should be thinking about our mental health all the time, but especially in the spring, because the spring usually represents resurrection and new birth and the starting of new things like marriages and things like that. So I guess it kind of makes sense that you can resurrect your mental health or resurrect your awareness of what you need to do for your mental health. So today I wanted to talk about a few things you want to be looking out for when it comes to prioritizing your mental health and the things that you should be watching for when it comes to maintaining your mental health. Now, these are all what I would call cautionary tales. They don't necessarily happen to everyone as they age, but they're things we need to look out for because you want to know kind of what's happening and you want to be tuned in all the time to what's happening with your body. Same thing with your mind. When certain things are happening and certain things are persisting, that could be your aha moment to go and do the things you need to take better care of you. One of the things that's very common with women over 40, but in general, whenever your mental health is being challenged, are mood changes. You want to pay attention to those changes in mood, such as increased irritability, sadness or anxiety. Persistent mood changes can be an indication of need for further evaluation. Sometimes it could be things like hormonal imbalance or a chemical imbalance, or it could be something that's going on in your environment that's causing these issues. But whatever it is, when you're noticing something going on with your mood all the time, where it's changing or it doesn't seem to be at a consistent level, or you're reacting to things in an unusual way that you normally would not react, you want to get that checked out just to maintain your mental health. The other thing is your cognitive function. You want to be aware of any changes in your cognitive function, such as memory loss, difficulty concentrating or perhaps confusion. These changes may warrant a medical evaluation to rule out any kind of underlying issues. Sometimes your cognitive function can be directly a result of what's going on with your gut. So if you are having, for instance, brain fog, or it's hard for you to learn things, maybe some depression that you don't normally have is sinking in, it could be something as simple as correcting your diet and improving your gut health. Another thing you want to take a look at is sleep patterns. And this is a huge one because if you're not getting enough sleep, there's a plethora of things that can begin to happen to you. Not just your mental function, but your physical function can also become compromised. So monitor your sleep patterns and the quality. Insomnia or significant changes in sleep patterns can impact your mental health. Practicing really good sleep hygiene, like for instance, a good sleep hygiene would be the ritual that you do right before you go to sleep. You want to think about, going to sleep at the same time every night. You want to begin to wind down maybe an hour before you go to sleep, like maybe get off your phones, turn off your computers, maybe put some silent, quiet music in the background, turn off the TV, perhaps take a nice shower or a bath, whatever your thing is. You want to begin to wind down a little bit. And then when you're finally settled down to go to sleep, all the lights should be off. There should be no blue lights at all. These kinds of things will help usher in sleep. But if you do these things and you're still having a problem, having a sleep issue, if the quality of your sleep, you never get into a deep sleep, you're waking up every hour on the hour or every 4 hours or whatever, you want to get that checked out because that could be an indication of something else that's going on and your body's trying to let you know, hey, I can't rest because something is off. Another thing you want to take a look at is your stress levels. You want to ensure that you keep an eye on the stress levels and find healthy ways, to manage and cope with stress. Chronic stress can negatively impact your mental health. So, prioritizing your self care and stress management is critical. And stress is something that I specialize in, stress and anxiety. And there are all kinds of things you can do to alleviate or to lower your stress levels. And this is really super important because when you're feeling stressed, your body begins to feel like it's under attack in terms of what stress does to the body. And it does certain things to protect itself. And sometimes the things that it does isn't always healthy for you. So you want to make sure that if you're in a prolonged situation of stress, that you get the help that's necessary so that your immune system doesn't get compromised, so that you don't end up with some kind of a high blood pressure, or so that you don't get into emotional eating and then get into a situation of gaining unhealthy weight. You also want to make sure that you are taking the right supplements, because stress really does suck all the vitamins from you. Your body's going to take from you whatever it can to help support the stressful situation it's going through. So if you're going through a particularly stressful time, you want to take a look at what kinds of supplements you might need to help with that. One way to find out what you need, of course, is to have your blood drawn and have a 12 panel done to find out what kinds of things you're deficient in. Real quickly, I wanted to say that you don't want to just take supplements because you think, oh, I need to take that because that's what everybody's doing. Some supplements, if you take too much of them, can be very dangerous. I heard somebody the other day say, I think I need to take copper. And I said, really, why? Why do you think you need to take copper? Something that they had read. But the reality is that too much copper in your system is toxic and can make you very sick. Hair loss, confusion, that's just some of the things for overdose of copper. So therefore, that could be the same thing with any supplement. Make sure that the supplements you're taking are what you really need. Sometimes what will happen is if the body doesn't need it, all your good investment in supplements goes right out through the urine and doesn't even go into the body. So just make sure that you're informed and tuned into what your body really needs by consulting a healthcare professional, having those 12 panels done and finding out what is out of whack and what supplements or vitamins you need to take. Another thing that's really important is taking a look at your self-care. You want to prioritize self-care activities because they promote mental well-being, such as engaging in your hobbies, practicing mindfulness, which is huge, setting boundaries, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, making sure you're getting movement in every day. Taking care of one's physical and emotional needs is essential for mental health. And I know we get busy and we're thinking that going and getting our nails done and our hair done is self-care. That's a form of self-care, but I'm talking about the self-care that helps you peel back the layers and really address some of those other issues that have you feeling stress. Maybe you need a good massage to, help move the lymphatic tissue and move the toxins out of your body. Or maybe you need to go and get a steam, which helps to remove toxins out of your body. Maybe you need to go out in nature and do some grounding, or perhaps some meditation, or practicing mindfulness, or maybe journaling. These are self-care things also. So I'm more so thinking about things that can help you on the inside and not just the stuff we do with our faces and, our hands or our hair. Another thing you want to take a look at is social engagement. I find that as we get older, we have a tendency to kind of self-select out. And with the pandemic having gone on, and for some people, they're still isolating a little bit, not being around people can really contribute to mental health issues. So even if you have to wear a mask or do social distancing, whatever you feel comfortable with, you still need to get out there and be with friends, make new friends, take a class where you can learn something and meet new people, join a meetup group and, go and meet new people. Get off of social media every once in a while. I mean, social media is great. I definitely use social media for my business, but when it comes to my social activities, it's not social media. I get on social media, I do my business and what's necessary. But when I really want to interact with people, I actually meet them in person. What a concept. It's very important and good for you to have that human connection, to interact, to be able to look in people's eyes, have them look into yours, to be able to just be human with another human and not have this glass partition between you, like with a computer and stuff. I know it seems like with Zoom and all the wonderful technology that we have, that we are in touch with people, but actually It's not in person. I was just talking to one of my good friends the other day, and we talk almost every day on the phone and sometimes on Zoom or whatever, FaceTime. But we realized yesterday that we haven't actually seen each other in 6 months. That doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for us not to do that. But many times, the way that we communicate on a regular basis in terms of using the technology that's available kind of tricks us into thinking that, oh, yeah, we've been in touch or we've seen the person. But in reality, you haven't been in touch and you haven't seen the person. So maintaining those social connections are key. And the other thing that's important in terms of maintaining mental health is, of course, to seek professional help. If you're experiencing persistent things around your mental health, you need to go ahead and consult a mental health provider, practitioner, coach, whatever it is that you think you need, that you feel comfortable with, to begin to address the issues and find out what kinds of tools that you can use to help alleviate some of the symptoms that you see. Because many times the symptoms can be alleviated and they don't always require medication. Sometimes they require a little bit of support and guidance. Sometimes you might need medication if there's a chemical imbalance or if your symptoms feel out of control and you need to kind of have a semblance of normalcy. Like, for instance, I have another dear friend that has out of nowhere been dealing with depression, and everything is going great in her world. So I immediately knew there's probably a chemical imbalance and you need to go and have your panels pulled, find out what's going on, get some testing done. And there was a slight chemical imbalance. So now she's on medication for the next 90 days to see if they can bring that back into balance. And then she'll wean off the prescription. And she's already feeling much better. There's no shame in taking prescription drugs. If there's another way that you can do it and you're willing to give it a try to see if it will help, then go ahead and do that. But if you're in a crisis situation where you're knowing that you can't even get the motivation to try anything else, then the next step would be to consult your medical practitioner to find out what else needs to be done. So those are my tips in terms of things to look out for and things to be aware of when it comes to maintaining your mental health, especially as you begin to, as Francine said, mature.
Thank you. We had a comment from Carlos for getting out of the house. He said, join a chamber.
Oh, like Chamber of Commerce. Yeah,
Right.
great way. There's a lot of networking organizations that are out there. If you have a hobby, or if you haven't and you haven't done it for a while, picking up that hobby and going to the places that it requires you to go to get the further skills for the hobby, equipment for the hobby, things like that. Many times you meet other people who have that in common, and then you strike up a relationship over a common interest. I think that maintaining mental health is an effort. Just like achieving joy is an effort. It's not something that just comes to you all the time. If you don't do something to contribute to feeling better, then the chances of you falling as a mental casualty to all the stuff that's going on right now is very real. There's a lot of things going on right now, I think we'll all agree, that can give us all cause for concern, and which could be a trigger for anxiety or depression or a sense of helplessness. But you don't have to stay there. There are things that you can do to move forward from that.
I like that. You gave us these 5 points. We need to do something to manage the stress before it gets to a critical point. I was like, wow, okay. And that managing that stress, you may need to figure out the stress, such as the stressors.
Yes. What are the triggers? What's
Right.
causing the stress?
Yeah, and do something about it before it gets to the point where, like you said, you've got extra weight or your physical functions are out of whack because you didn't deal with things that were causing you stress. Now, here's the thing. Some people may not know they're in a stressful situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because if
Yeah.
they're addicted to chaos and addicted to living in a weird situation, and they just don't recognize that, oh, wait, this is stressful.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Many times we can be in denial about the things that are causing us stress. Many of us have toxic environments. And if you're in a toxic environment and You know that it is, but you can't remove yourself from that environment right away. You definitely want to give you some tools to keep from having that toxic environment impede you. And one of those things is, of course, getting socially connected with other people, having a talk therapist, doing journaling to get it out of you, how you're feeling, taking walks in nature, hiring someone to help you, through the process. There are other holistic practices like meditation, mindfulness, yoga, aromatherapy, tapping, that can all contribute to helping you kind of shift your mental health to something that is more positive, and to keep that toxicity from impeding your mental health, because it can happen. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's the people that you're around or the environment that you're in.
Right. Yeah. It's because if you're outside and things are flying and blowing around out there, you're going to get hit with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think that's normal, but it's not normal. The whirlwind is not normal. It's not supposed to be going
And
on.
I think we've kind of gotten used to living in this abnormalness. But what's going on right now is not really normal, regardless of what side of the fence you're on. It's not normal, and it's not healthy. So all the more reason why you want to do the things that are important to maintain your mental health, so that you're not being, slapped around by all this stuff. You have the tools. And I just want to say that, I think all of us have the knowledge and, to a certain extent, of things that we can do to improve our mental health. But acting on the knowledge is what makes it powerful. You want to actually do something about it. And sometimes that's where you need a little help to, kind of a little nudge, whether it's from a coach or your best friend or a support group, something to kind of hold you accountable. I know it seems silly. Why do I need someone to hold me accountable for taking care of me? But you'd be surprised, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. We kind of put it on the back burner, because on the surface, everything looks okay, right? Yeah. But on the inside, there's all kinds of stuff. And eventually it does come out. Eventually you can see, the results of that mental health issue that you just haven't taken care of, because it takes a toll on the body physically over time.
Right. I've always known that, and I don't know how I knew this, but if I'm overweight, something's out of order.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that I'm not talking about something out of order, me eating, because it's something out of order here. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. What am I stressed
That's so
about?
true, Francine. I'm glad you brought that up, because for women in particular, if your cortisol levels are going up, you're going to get thicker. And cortisol levels always go up when you're stressed. They also go up when you wake up first thing in the morning. Your cortisol levels are high. So one of the things you want to do first thing in the morning to keep those cortisol levels low as possible when you first get up, especially when you know you're going to have a really busy day, is to get up and start moving. Get up and go for a walk. Do your yoga. Dance around like nobody's watching. Whatever you can do to get moving first thing in the morning. For me, when I get up first thing in the morning, I very rarely sit down that first hour and a half that I'm up. I'm moving around, doing my chores, doing stuff, purposely staying up to drive down my cortisol levels. And I always go for a walk in the morning too, but the time that I get up in the morning, it's not safe to go for a walk outside my property. So I get up around, I get up around 3:30 in the morning, and the neighborhood is safe, but that's the critters' time. So there's skunks and coyotes, all this stuff that would just love to say, hey, Lynnis, what's up? So I don't do that in the morning. You want to be safe, of course, but it is beautiful to be able to go for a walk first thing in the morning. It is
I like
really
that.
beautiful. Yes.
And sometimes we don't understand that it could be just that one simple little tip that can change the whole game. You know what I mean? Because some people get up and they get on the computer, or they get up, you know what I mean? They have some type of routine, but they get up, get on the computer instead of getting up and get out the house.
And I absolutely do understand that. Another thing about getting up and getting out of the house is it gives you fresh oxygen. And you need that fresh oxygen to create new blood cells, so that the new blood cells are going to the brain, because that helps the brain function. And water also, I just drank some myself, is extremely important in maintaining the mental health, because the brain is largely made up of water. And when you're dehydrated, you find your your clarity of thinking is not great, your focus isn't good, your ability to learn, your memory's not great. So that's a sign when normally you're pretty sharp and you're not feeling it. It's because you probably need some water. You need to get up, move around, go for a walk, do something. Yeah.
So I like something else you said. Having the right supplements and not just taking supplements because it's the fad, but getting a health coach, whatever that type of health coach is. A coach is somebody that's going to give you directions on how to do something. So consulting with someone, healthcare professional, health coach, somebody who knows what's happening and not just taking supplements because they just said take this, and or everybody in Hollywood is on this particular kick.
Right. Exactly. That's sometimes that can be very damaging, and people don't understand that. And when you do know you need to get some supplements, be cautious about where you purchase them from. I would not recommend purchasing supplements from any large container stores. You don't know how long they've been there, how old they are. You just have to be careful about that. Plus, no one in that place in the large container stores can tell you anything about the supplements. When you go to a health food store or a nutrition store, their staff usually knows something about it. But the reality is when you're going to get the supplements, hopefully you've already talked with someone who knows about it. And all you have to do is go and pick it up. But if you're not sure and you know you need something, you're trying to figure out what's the best brand, and you don't have a coach or you haven't talked with your medical practitioner about brands or anything like that, talk to those people at the health food stores and at the nutrition stores. I know that, for instance, Sprouts usually has someone on staff that's pretty good about supplements. Whole Foods, the same thing, but any of the nutrition stores as well is excellent. Or like I said, get a health coach like me that will be able to tell you the different brands, the what's good, what's not, and to help you maneuver also the medical system when it comes to your doctor's appointments, because I do work in conjunction with other doctors. And one of the things I do with my clients is I prepare them with questions. You don't want to just go into the doctor's office and be like this, okay, what's wrong with me? And it's not that the doctor can't tell you that, but if you really want a real diagnosis, if you really want an accurate prognosis, you have to come prepared with all the different symptoms and things that you've witnessed, and then feel free enough to have that conversation with your doctor. If the doctor's doesn't have time to listen to you or is over talking to you, whatever it is, if you're not feeling comfortable having that discussion with you, then time to change doctors, because sometimes doctors can be the source of us feeling mentally unwell. They can stress you out when you're feeling like you're not getting the right information, you don't feel like the diagnosis is correct, or they're not even really listening to what you have to say. So don't sit there and take that. You have the right to change doctors. Sometimes finding a good doctor or a good coach or anyone that's helping you with you is just like going to shop for a dress or a pair of shoes. Okay, these days, especially as you age, you got to try it on, make sure it still fits the way you want it to fit, and the shoes are comfortable and everything else. Same thing with when it comes to getting help, making sure that they're the right person for whatever it is that you think you need.
I'm enjoying our conversation today, and then staying social, you mentioned that quite a bit. And I think a lot of times is we are not staying social. We were tending to become, not necessarily hermits, but just not getting out and talking to a live person.
Yeah.
And I know during the pandemic, we, Terry and I was talking. We live in the same city, but I hadn't seen her in months because we were distancing, and so, but it did feel like we had been
talking away. I know it feels like that. I mean, Francine, when I saw you, you were so sweet. You can't. In fact, the not the gardenia, the orchid is blooming again. She bought me an orchid for my 65th birthday last year. It's blooming again, but I felt like I had seen you. But I hadn't. I had not seen you. It had been years since I actually had seen you.
Yes.
And I find myself having to make myself leave the home. My husband and I have done a good job in providing a little oasis in our home. It's so easy for us to stay here for weeks and not even realize that we haven't been out. So we I know my husband makes it his duty to make sure that I get out every day. He said, let's go for a ride. Let's do this just to make sure. And on the weekends, I always get out. But I really do need to get out every single day because I find that as I age, 3 to 4 hours, then I need a break. Back in the day, I'd be like 7, 8 hours, but not anymore. Plus, it's not really value added. My quality work comes in snippets of 3 to 4 hours. If I'm here for 7 or 8 hours, those last 4 hours or so, there's nothing quality going on. And I'm stressed out now because nothing seems to be working right. Technology seems to be getting all screwy and everything else. And the reality is I need a mental break. And that was one more thing that I wanted to say real quickly. I'm so glad to see that corporate America and some government offices as well, or government entities, have incorporated mental health days. Everybody needs a mental health day, adults and children, especially now. If you have a child in your home, whether they are a young child or a teenager or whatever, and you can see that something's not quite right and they need some time, especially if you can be there with them, both of you take a mental health day. Get out and do something. Don't watch Netflix. Maybe you can watch Netflix when you get back. But get out and do something. Go out to the river, go buy some water, go into some air, get some fresh oxygen, and have a talk. This is so important and so basic. Many of our young children have all of these emotions and feelings that they cannot, they don't know how to communicate them because their brains aren't fully developed, but they are feeling something. So it's our jobs as parents to do everything that we can to help them communicate and talk to us. And even if it seems like a one-sided conversation and they're not saying anything, keep doing it. It's helpful for them. It helps to build confidence in their ability to be able to trust you and to know that they're a priority. Because right now, probably one of the things that's most important when it comes to children's mental health is to know that they are a priority because of the actual one-on-one physical time that you spend with them. Not like I see a lot. I see this a lot, and I'm guilty of it too at restaurants. My husband and I go to a restaurant, and sometimes he'll say, "Lynnis, look," and people are sitting, having a nice meal, but they're like this. And sometimes they're even sending things to each other, text or this clip or what. Put away the phones during your conversations with your family and friends. Look into their eyes and connect. It's so important because this hand stuff, we don't know yet because it's all so new how it's impacting us. But I believe we're beginning to see some signs of it.
Right. And there's a book I'm reading, and I was like, wow, there was 5 signs of digital, the things that our digital world is causing for us. And I'll
wow. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe you and I can get together and do this again.
Yes, I would love to. I wanted to let people know real quickly, for the month of May, I am doing free webinars on mental health strategies to build resilience and mental health. And it's called Mind Over Midlife, strategies to build resilience and build resilience in your health and in your mental well-being. And they're every Wednesday at 10:30. And all you have to do is go to my link tree and you'll see the link there. And all you have to do is just go and sign up. It's totally free. Our first one was yesterday. And if you attend, if you register, then I send you the tape as well. So if you can't be present, that's okay, but you'll still get the tape. And I really share some nuggets.
Good morning, Janice, and good morning, Carlos. Carlos got jokes again this morning. He said, I've fallen in love with Siri.
Well, I have fallen in love with Alexa. I can't say her name out loud because then she,
yeah, she wakes up and
she does her thing.
So the conversation is really, really good. And having, I think the main thing is I'm learning as we go along that we need a coach to help us see things that we can't see about ourselves. And a lot of times we think, oh, I'll just DIY it. No, get off of YouTube and try and cobble it together.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is a great source of information, but again, Knowledge is power, but implementing it is powerful. And sometimes it's difficult to implement some of those things because you don't have a support system. Many times, making those incremental changes in our lifestyles to feel better, look better, be better, require just a tad bit of motivation. You think, okay, I can do that. But it takes anywhere from 60 to 90 days to incorporate a habit. And somewhere in those 60 to 90 days, you backslide. When you have a coach, they can get you back on track. When you don't, I'll give you an example. I wanted to try out the Noon app, okay? Because I want to get rid of this infamous 10 pounds that I gained at 64 that just doesn't want to seem to leave my butt, okay? So I thought, okay, I'm going to try Noon. So I was doing fine the first 3 or 4 days. I'm logging in. Well, I'm doing really good and everything else. And something came up, and the 5th day I didn't do it. Something else came up the 2nd day I didn't do it. The 3rd day, I got a text message from them saying, hey, are you doing okay? And I was like, oh, yeah, I need to go in and do it. But I still didn't do it. I realized then, you know what? This is a great app. The difference, though, is a text wouldn't have done it for me. A call from my coach, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? When we last met, you were going to do this and this week. Have you done it yet? Coaches hold you accountable. And when you're struggling with the accountability because maybe this particular incremental change doesn't fit with your lifestyle, they'll say, okay, well, let's take a look at something else. And that isn't going to do that for you.
No.
It's just not going to do it. It's a great tool for some things, but when it comes to actually implementing lifestyle changes and things like that, having someone to kind of hold your feet to the fire, especially if you know yourself to be a person that needs that extra little push to make those incremental changes. Because you're absolutely right, Francine, it's incremental changes that we need to improve our health. I was just talking to one of my clients the other day, and she's no longer my client. She was my client for 6 months. She lost 40 pounds. I mean, she was just doing terrific. And I touch bases with her every once in a while because she's, still she's not my client, but I still feel responsible. And she said, you know what, Lynnis? I realized I went back to creamer in my coffee. I said, you did? She says, yeah, for about a month. And girl, what, guess what? I said, what happened? She said, I gained 3 pounds. I said, oh. She said it was that incremental change of not using the creamer in her coffee anymore that made that huge difference. That's really what it's all about when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to learning to be present, when it comes to improving our mental health, reducing our stress, our anxiety, all of that. It's incremental changes. So she said, so for me, that was a warning sign. Can I get back on your calendar? And I was like, oh, sure. No problem. But I understand that happens. That happens. We don't always appeal to our greater angels. Our human nature, lots of times, is to not appeal to our greater angels because it's easier not to. That makes sense. There's no shame in that. No shame at all. So, yeah, if you're looking for a health coach and you've been struggling, then definitely contact me. My calendar is open.
Like, which way do I point? Okay.
This way. Contact her. You contact me. All right.
Contact Lynnis.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is really good conversation. It needs to be had. But you don't just take the conversation and or whatever else you've been watching on YouTube. You make a call and you get with somebody to help you. Lynnis is here to help you. Her link tree is in the chat. Mm-hmm. Make it your business to, I'm going to put it up here too. Make it your business to connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone text me. Are you running this on Clubhouse or anywhere?
Nope, I'm not.
Huh. Okay, well, they must be watching it, and I don't recognize this telephone number. Someone's watching it, and they just text me a message. They said, tell you my age. This must be somebody I know. Okay, I'll tell you. I am my branding. I'll be 66 in June. That's how old I am, And someone told me, well, you shouldn't tell your age. I will tell my age as long as I don't look it. The minute I start looking it, I ain't telling it. But see, you're never going to get, because I am the result of all the things that I teach. Bottom line.
Right. And so you're not going to ever look your age. So
hopefully it's some mommy and daddy genes, I would like to, I think. And you as well. I love the gray that's coming in. Do you know, Francine, I was just approached by because I'm an influencer too. And I was just approached by a company that makes gray haired wigs.
Right. And they want your hair.
Yeah, but but what they want me to do is to wear the wigs and show how real they look in comparison to my real hair. But
Oh,
I
okay.
just let you know that's how things are changing in terms of embracing the fact that we're
Yes,
aging. But that doesn't mean that we just kind of self-select out and don't try to do anything to continue to beautify ourselves and to stay well. The aging process is a beautiful process if you allow it to happen in a way that is
exactly.
healthy.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And being healthy, being fit, being fabulous is what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Um, I saw somebody, she's still rocking heels at 80.
Ooh, see, and I'm not even rocking heels. I mean, I can wear them, but my ankles, I'm always afraid I'm going to twist my ankles or something. I still want to be able to go back to dancing if I want to, and I don't want to not be able to go because I sprained my ankle. I feel a little wobbly, and I think it's because I'm barefoot a lot of times at home, or I have tennis shoes on, or sandals all the time for the last 16 years. Whenever I do go somewhere, I have on heels, and like I can last for 2 or 3 hours, but after that, but hey, if she can do that, I knew a lady who was like 85 and wore heels. If you can rock that, rock it.
Yeah. And it takes, you know, it takes you doing the thing you need to do, building your calves, building your ankles, doing. If you want to do that, then you just make sure that you prep your body to do that.
Right. To be able to do it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Lynnis. This is really good conversation. Again, we want to thank everybody who watched this live on the replay and even on Clubhouse. Um, be sure to connect with Lynnis. You need a coach. And see, now you don't have to go combing through the internet trying to find somebody who's got you. You got somebody right here. And you want to have, we got our businesses and things of that nature, but we still need to be healthy. So do what you need to do. Reach out, get a coach, because we always talk about three things you need. You need a cheerleader, you need a coach, and you need a community. We got a great community. We have great coaches for every aspect of your life. Then it's okay. Instead of trying to do it DIY, get a coach.
Absolutely. And I wanted to mention also, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm going to be doing something Saturday after next called Soul Sister Saturday. For those of you in Central California or Northern California, Soul Sister Saturday with Jewel Diamond Taylor, who is a best-selling author, motivational speaker, and life coach, where we're going to be coming together talking about all things empowerment. We're going to be outside in the blue skies with beautiful umbrellas and food and fellowship and fun. So I just want to invite you to check that out. If you go to my link tree and click on the Eventbrite link, you'll see it. It'll say Soul Sister Saturday. Join us. It's going to be absolutely fun. I have a special pricing. If you purchase 2 tickets at once, you get special pricing, but it's going to be a fabulous time. We did it in October and it was wonderful. And that's why we decided to do it again. Now, Sacramento, for all of you who are in Sacramento might be watching this, don't be letting Jewel down. I know some of you are waiting to the last minute. I don't want her to think we cannot support her coming out here. So please purchase your tickets.
So this will be in Sacramento.
It's in Sacramento. It's actually in Fair Oaks, in my backyard. As a matter of fact, that's where we get it last time. And Carolina's going to have a booth there. So if any of you, there are vendors, yeah, I would love to see you there, Francine. Have you met Jewel before?
I don't think I've met Jewel before.
You will love her. There's just something, talk about someone who is just a fine wine. I mean, she's beautiful. She'll tell her age. I know she's in her 70s. I mean, she is my shero. And she's still doing it. She's still traveling and speaking and working with women to help them to feel better about themselves and to take better care of themselves and to make themselves a priority and to love themselves as they are. I mean, she really talks a lot about that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to also have somebody who's going to be doing sound bowls to kind of usher in, the ability to receive all the information. Someone else is going to be talking about generational curses and how to release them. It's just going to be wonderful. So please, you guys, stop. Don't sit on your hands. Go to Eventbrite, click on the keyboard, and purchase tickets.
And what date is that again?
May 20th.
Okay, I will be there. Okay.
I know you. I know you're going to be there. Bring it if you bring a friend, then it's even cheaper. But I would love to see you all there. I know it's going to be a blessing. I know it's going to be a blessing.
Well, thank you, everybody. We will be back tomorrow talking tech. with Tech Life Weekly, everything you need to get your tech situation. See, now you got coaches that help you with your tech too. So get on over there tomorrow, 8 a.m. And then we will be back with Robin and Terry are traveling. So Lynnis and I had to hold down the house.
Good. We did okay. I missed Robin and Francine, but
I think so. I think we did well.
But we did good. Yeah. Thanks so much, Francine, as always, for the opportunity.
Yes. So stick around for a second.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. And happy Mother's Day, because that is definitely coming up.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. We'll be talking to you real soon. Woo!